Alrighty. Internet should be resolved. Hopefully. Praying. Fingers crossed. Internet resolved. So, hopefully people will kind of start trickling back in. Anyways, I guess we'll just kind of get started. Um, if you're just joining us, coming in, um, there's a Discord link in the description of this video. Feel free to join that. It's great for, people who want to learn modeling, people who are even doing like Photoshop or GIMP, Reskin, weathering, whatever, texture artists and modelers, people who want to become texture artists or modelers, just kind of learn the ropes from each other. It gives a place, a live chat. Um, Maybe in the future, people who've joined, I can do voice chat as well. People can ask questions, we can talk, and just look at some modeling stuff together, because I guess one of the biggest things for me going through the process of learning how to model is these programs are very daunting. They're very scary to look at. There's a lot of stuff that goes into them. So being able to learn from somebody who kind of knows the ropes and can explain things, give you basic, you know, ideas of how to do stuff in the program is, gets you a running start. So I feel like just that Discord chat will be a perfect opportunity for that. Kind of join in, learn, and kind of see what's all happening. So without further ado, I'll probably just help my internet out a little bit as much as possible. Um, so yeah, I'll be checking in on the live chat here and there throughout the video or the live stream, but right now we're gonna go ahead and do some more texturing. So right now we're working on map 2 of my Horizon coach, and the way that the coach car has been broken down is you have map 1, which is the main kind of body of the Horizon. So this is where all the details go. I'm kind of just experimenting with stuff right now, laying down details, laying down paint to kind of get a basic idea of what I want. And then, of course, then we'll go through weathering and other stuff like that. So here's an example of the MU receptacles using some using some Photoshop techniques to make it look like there's raised letters. So yeah, this is the main body. So that's map 1. Then map 2 is all of the underbody details. And the reason I broke these maps down is if we pull up Photoshop here, we can kind of take a look. Here's the map. Here's map 2. This has a lot of details that are going to have photo textures or like labels on them, kind of like on this thing. And there's the possibility I need to go through and make adjustments to make things a lot larger. But I mean, we're looking at this at a 80 by 29 or whatever kind of area. This should be perfect for stickers to show up fine. And then I've got these parts here as well for hopefully getting some photo textures to show up a little bit better. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that, but this is kind of the way that I'm working with right now to get through this all. So this is map 2, and I got it broken down so I'll be able to do some photo texturing on, or at least put labeling, and I say quote unquote photo textures because for instance, if we pull up map 1, we can also take a look at how things are kind of broken down. So map 1, I wanted to have a lot of the details pretty large, but this is about as good as I could get it with the coach car, which, I mean, if there's a better way of doing this so I can get this whole part a little bit larger. I mean, so here's the jacking pad textures, and the way that I made those is I didn't do photo texturing for that. Well, kinda. So I did a text, and I have a kind of a background layer that I use to get an idea of how this is going to work. So you can kind of see there's kind of a bevel on this to kind of give it a three-dimensional appeal, three-dimensional look. And then I gave it a texture on top of that to make it look like it was a vinyl sticker that has kind of been a little worn in. It's been outside because that's just that, but because of the nature of how I have to have everything kind of broken down, I could have modeled a plane and put that to the side and it would have worked fine. And I would have had that clearly written, but that's kind of, it's difficult to line it up on that part because of how it's slanted. So there's just a couple parts on here to show you a couple examples. But right now we're looking at this. So first things first, we need to finish coloring these little bits and pieces red in the center here. So the way I have this broken down is I have the wireframe of each of the pieces, and all I'm going to do is select that. Select this area here. So that we can just give it a quick little coloring red. I want to point out that none of the paint exactly is. When I get this in game, there's going to be a lot of adjustments that I'm going to have to make in order to get this to look right in game, because 3ds Max can make stuff look weird as well as trains. That's at least my experience with reskinning back when I was really into reskinning stuff for like jointed rail or unjointed rail locomotives. I'd start doing something, the colors would look right in Photoshop and in Train's Mesh Viewer, but the second you get it in game, the shaders were really weird. So main thing right now is I'm just trying to select the green outline, and go ahead, let me know, because I honestly have no idea right now how that's acting. Well, I could probably just pull it up on my phone real quick. So main thing right now is I'm just trying to select the green out. Okay, so it looks like it's going okay right now. So it's not a big deal. Anywho, so we selected this and we're just gonna quickly color that red. And you can kind of see how I did this. This was mainly to just be, parts management when I did the mapping. Control F5, we're on the right layer. And I don't think we did that right. So let me get rid of, yeah, it needs to be darker. Oh, jeez, what did I do? There we go. So I think I got that going alright there. So a couple things. If you guys have watched my reskin tutorial revamp that I made, God knows how long ago, a lot of things have actually changed with with how I reskin or with how I do texturing and all that. For one, I used to put the paint, the actual like paint tech or the paint layer, that would have been on top of kind of the base layer or the texture bake, and that's kind of how I learned how to do it. But later on, I did a little bit of studying on some jointed rail reskin. What is it? They had some reskin kits for like their F7s and some of their rolling stock that you could do some reskins on. So I was studying that to kind of see how they did it. And it's actually kind of interesting. They put their paint on the back layer and they make the texture bake their multiply layer. For me, it was reversed. I would do the paint layer and it would be the multiply on top of the texture bake. A rolling stock. So, so with that kind of being said, I was kind of curious as to why they did that. And I started doing some experimentation. It doesn't make that big of a difference necessarily, except when it comes into, adding texturing um, and other details to the map. It kind of makes things a little bit easier to follow along with. So layer on the very bottom, I have the bake layer on top, like that. And then I've got my actual, well, let's see, are there any of these textures? I don't know what these do. I think, that's what they're for, okay. I was like, what the heck? Why do I have that? Anyways, that's besides the point right now, folks. We'll get into the photo textures another time, or maybe later in the stream as we kind of go through this. But basically, that's how I have all of this laid out and set up. And I'll kind of show you. Another thing that's really, really helpful if you're working in Photoshop is to set up these folders. So I can have photo texturing, bake, and paint, and other different things like details all put together. Keeps it clean, easier to follow along with, easier to deal with. So, anywho, right now this is what we're line stuff up and everything. So, let me pull up a picture real quick. If it'll load, my internet is not the greatest. So, I apologize for that. Hopefully the stream is coming through okay for you guys. So again, in the chat, let me know. We'll try and figure stuff out. But let's see, can I get this to open? Okay, so here's what we're kind of looking at right now. Plunger out, brake on. So, and then we have two kind of screws in the middle there. So let's see, how are we gonna do this? First of all, I'm gonna do a new 2048 by 2048. I'm gonna unlock this, and we're gonna just give it a transparent background. And then we'll go to my color palette here. And then I'll set this as the background. Now, the reason I'm doing this right now is because this is going to make it a little bit easier for me to kind of just figure out the shading and everything. In fact, I'll actually switch my foreground and my background, and I'm gonna make it kind of a gray, so it's a little bit easier to see the drop shadows. This is just to, again, make things a little bit easier to see right now. Oh boy, let's see. Benjamin, over 60 Democratic candidates for Kansas have endorsed defunding the police. We need leaders who will support. What the heck? I'm getting all the text messages for for politics. It's like, come on. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I I get enough of it, guys. I don't need to see. I don't need you freaking texting me. You know, keep your party stuff to yourself or whatever. It's bad enough I have to see video or advertisements that whatever. Rounded rectangle tool. The reason we're going to do the rounded rectangle tool is because if we take a look at again, our picture, the sticker edges are kind of rounded. They've got a bevel to them. So that's kind of what we'll be recreating here. And I don't want this to be square, kind of want it to be like that. And then we can make our adjustments here. Segment 10. And I'll probably raise this to about 25. Is that? Yeah. That looks a lot better. So we'll do this. And I'll set it up like that. So what I'm using is these predefined shapes. This makes this process so much easier to do. And the process that I'm going to show is how you can kind of get the effect of raised letters on metal, so you don't have to use photo textures. It's kind of a cool thing. So you're basically making your own photo textures. So first off, let's pull up our picture here and see what it looks like. Plunger out, break on. Okay. So we'll do the text here. This is where this is going to be possibly problematic. We'll see. Because of the chamfer. I want to select the inside. Oh wait, I don't have to worry about that because I could just do the fill layer. Boom. Go to here. And we'll select that as our fill layer. Because that's what we want. Okay, so then the next thing, I still want to be able to see that right now. We're going to double click the rectangle layer doodad. Well, that's going to bring up our layer styles. So we're going to do a bevel and emboss on this. And that kind of brings this up, and it's interesting. Maybe we don't have to do bevel and emboss. Maybe we just do the drop shadow. And I'll bring the distance down so it looks like that. Because these stickers aren't all that raised, I'll put the spread out about 10 pixels and the size about 16, 15 pixels, something around there. And then we'll hit OK. So bevel and emboss is for more raised items. But these are not that raised. They don't really have that kind of bevel on them. Where's a good example of that? I don't know how well you can see it on the bogey. Unless I pull up the bogey. Oh yeah, I still have to redo the bump texture for the map. So yeah, if we come over here to like this part right here, that's what the Beveling boss is really, really good for. Or this thing right here. It's these raised portions. So kind of an interesting little thing. Next, we need to do the text for our plunger. Like that. Oh, dang it. You know what I just realized? I need to go back to the color palette. Completely forgot about this. um, go here. We'll actually make the fill that color instead, because that's the color that it's going to be. Well, I take that back. We just need this to do the outline. So I'm trying to think about how to do this. We don't need a fill. I'm an idiot. No fill. Cancel. Now we need the text for this. And I think I'm just using Helvetica. Is that? Alright. And then I want the text to be white. There we go. Oh, it's all capital letters. Leave that caps lock on. Plunger out. And I'm going to lower this to about that, at least so I can see it. And then I need to find a something that matches the. Let's see here. Can I just do bold? Yeah, that's close enough. So plunger out. Break on. Alrighty. So now we're gonna size this to be a little bit bigger. And then we'll make this bigger too. And the reason why I'm going bigger, and this is kind of what I recommend you do, 2048 by 2048 as your kind of base dimensions, because this is going to have to get sized down. I don't have Adobe Illustrator. Stuff is way too expensive. So what this allows you to do is it gives you a decent base for pixelation or whatever, and then you can size it down and it's not going to distort it too badly. So I'm thinking right about there is going to be just right. And then we'll take this, hit Shift T. No. I meant Control T. Hello everyone. I am an idiot. Select that. Control T. Yeah. Okay. There it is. And then we're gonna resize this to match the picture. So this comes up a little bit. And the nice thing about how this works is you see how these effects and the drop shadow right here are showing. You can adjust this however you need to adjust it, and it will do exactly what you want it. It'll fix that. So it's all in real time. And this is awesome when you don't want to have to go and redo this. So you can make your basic shape, you can make it however you need to make it, and then you just hit apply and everything's good. So this is going to be our sticker, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that layer. I'm going to come over here, takes everything that's visible within it copies it. So now we're going to go paste that into the next thing. or into our map 2. And this is going to go into our photo texture piece. So we'll hit Control V, and this is what it brings up. It's pretty great. Control T to start resizing it